weekend. Played some really tough teams.
Mm-hmm.
Just talk about what lessons you guys got from going up to Lubbock and playing in a tournament like that.
Yeah, I mean, from the get-go, I just am proud of this group. Every weekend they get better. And I've been thinking about, something that I could compare it to. And, everybody wants the harvest. And it's easy to look and see like, oh, you're planting seeds, you're planting seeds. And I grew up in Northern California, so we have a lot of rice fields. And people don't realize that rice actually grows in water. It's not just that you plant it and it sits there. And so right now I look at this season as, we're just soaking in this water, and at some point the harvest is going to be time to put the water out and for us to harvest the produce on the other side. And so there's a lot of good things that are happening that maybe don't show in the outcomes that are going on. And so they just keep coming back, and I know where they're going to continue to get better. Obviously the circle is a big dilemma for us right now. And so going about this week a little bit differently, trying to do some things that we haven't done in the past to give our pitchers some more confidence and just the ability to, put us in a little bit better situations, because it's tough to dig yourself. It's tough to ask the offense to dig us out of a hole, and, it's tough to play defense behind when you're just giving up so many free bases. So not putting the blame on one person or the other, it's just collectively like we have to grow in that area.
And the fact that you're playing one of the toughest non-conference schedules probably in the country, how hard is it to consistently give that message to the team of, all right, scoreboard doesn't matter, it's about what we're doing to get ready for conference play, especially with so many young and new faces on there. Just talk about the struggles that come with that.
Yeah, it's just all about focusing on the controllables. What can we control? What are the standards that we have set for ourselves and that we're working to follow regardless of the circumstance, right? It's easy to do all the things right when the circumstances are falling in your favor. It's a lot harder when they are not. So continuing to go back into that. But, our team verse this year is Romans, and it talks about, not becoming weary in the suffering, because we know that suffering produces perseverance, and perseverance produces character, and character produces hope. And there's nothing but hope still for this season. And we are going to be battle tested and ready for everything that comes our way going forward. And like I said, you may not see that right now, but I know that we are a different team than we were, a couple weeks ago, and we will continue on that trend. And it doesn't get easier this next, 12 days that we're attacking here. And so just preparing them for that as we go on the road again, and then being able to be that battle tested. So when we come home, we're ready to take on the conference.
And you mentioned it last week. You mentioned it just a minute ago. Pitching has been the biggest struggle. What is it going to take, or what are you guys looking to do to try to get that figured out, especially before conference play starts?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is just matchups and knowing, setting some smaller goals and, narrowing our focus a little bit just as individuals and then collectively as a staff. I mean, like I said, you're giving up too many free bases, and it's hard to win games when you're giving so many free passes. And like I said, I think our offense is doing a pretty good job. Our defense could definitely still be better at times, but we just need to put it all together. And I know they can do it. I have no doubt that they can do it. I brought them here for a reason, and we have the ability to do it. It's just putting it all together at the right time.
And you talked about the offense. Seems to be the bright spot so far to start this season. How good is that, especially with so many new faces in the lineup, consistently changing throughout the time?
Yeah, it's fun. I love coaching this group, and I will say that every day. Coming to work is so fun because they are so eager to learn and make adjustments and get better as they go throughout the season. And our offense, I challenged them again, hey, you can't get down. We have to have better at-bats. We have to have more quality at-bats regardless of the outcome on the other side. You have to scratch and claw to get your way on base. And I do feel like they're doing a really good job of that. Ari had a tremendous weekend, and not just obviously the outcome was there, which is what you want, but man, just battled and battled and battled at the plate to get what she wanted. I think Elizabeth is going to continue to come around. Same thing, having good at bats, getting better. Meggers, maybe not her best production this weekend, but still finding ways to get on base and be in that top of the lineup for us and produce, and just continuing the bottom of our lineup too. I mean, Sav had a couple of hits in there, which was good to see. Romero coming in, and so getting the bottom to turn it over to the top is encouraging, and I'm excited to watch them this weekend.
I kind of wonder always just how much stock you put in to the pitching staff. You talk about how they struggled, but you've been going against some good squads. So how much stock do you put into that? And then I guess too, how do you build them up to turn things around kind of when you get to conference play, kind of like he has?
Yeah, I think the stock is, yes, we're going against very good hitters and very good teams. For me, I think the measurables for them is, we just have a lot of big misses right now. Like we're either on top of the plate or we're around way out outside the zone. So it's just about being competitive and be able to locate pitches back to back and when I want to. And no one's going to be perfect. That's the thing. Pitching across the board, and I said this a couple weeks ago, across the nation, like it's definitely a higher scoring games than it's ever been in the past, which is part of it. So getting them to also realize how to respond to that, right? The powers and the response. And being that a lot of them have come from top programs and they haven't been hit off a ton, I think a lot of it is just reminding them that this is going to happen. And it's about how do you go back and attack again after you get something hit off of you. So like I said, going to set some smaller goals this week. We're going to do things a little bit differently at practice and see if we can't hone in on a few things that'll make us a little bit better going forward.
And then I know with Emerson, she's kind of one of the big folks that you brought in, the Utah State connection and stuff. And one of the, I guess, big people just in general you were able to bring in being in your first summer and stuff. So talk about how she's been coming in here and being acclimated and being a leader for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, she's done a great job, and I think she'll just continue to get better. I mean, the thing about Megs that's exciting is that she didn't really play a ton at Utah State her first 2 years, so this is her real first, experience on the field every single game, and so there are still opportunities for her to grow just because she hasn't had a ton of opportunity in the past. So just like our freshmen are getting their first, go-around at it, she's getting her the go-around at it for the first time, but has that knowledge base that, not that the freshmen don't have. So she's been able to help a lot of our underclassmen kind of develop that and develop quickly, but she's got a lot of still room for growth, and it's exciting. I mean, it's great that we have, still a lot of season left this year, and then obviously get to have her next year.
I want to know about your confidence kind of offensively. Like we talked about how heavy it's been in this non-conference. Do you guys talk about kind of how that's going to be a strength for you guys once you guys do flip into WAC play?
Yeah, I remind them all the time. I mean, the other day when we went down, I'm like, hey, but you're seeing the best of the best right now. So everything that you're going to see after, this next weekend, you've seen it all. Go attack. You are confident in your ability to get to certain pitches and have quality at bats, like I said, and just know that you've prepared for this and you're able to go and execute now, very freely. You're not going to see anything. There's going to be no surprises. You're going to be able to execute. So I think they're buying into that more and more, which is exciting to see.
And I know a lot of folks too, they're kind of why are you guys playing these teams? But can you just talk to the fact that you were playing squads that were in the, I guess, college end of the year national championship game
Sure.
last year. Just talk about how they're so close. You get to play Tech in Texas. What that does for you guys in your program.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. I mean, we live in the best state for college softball. I mean, you can drive 2, 3, 4 hours in any direction and you're playing a top 10 team. I mean, that's pretty incredible. Not very many people have the opportunity to do that. And I know that there's mixed opinions about if it's the right thing to do or the wrong thing to do. And I do think that there's momentum in obviously winning, and I'm not, naive to that. And of course, I would want more wins in the win column, but I'm also not naive to the fact that it's going to continue to make us better. And also just the platform, and I reminded them of that this weekend, the platform that you get to play on right now. We are at the pinnacle of our sport in college softball. And so for you to be on the same field as the athletes that are competing for national championships, what wonders that does for ACU and ACU softball and the program that we are trying to build here. And that's incredible that you get to be on the forefront of that. And people are looking at you and watching you and seeing how you respond. And it's building. And just for them, they may not get to see the fruit of it right away. I mean, I hope that they do at the end of the year when we get to the conference, which is the ultimate goal. But the long term of the kids that are watching them and seeing Abilene Christian on the map, I mean, that's a bigger imprint than they know that they're making right now.
You talked about Ari's big weekend, obviously 3 homers on Saturday. Talk about that, but then also just how you've seen her continue to lead the team as an older student.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing about Ari. She's still young. She's a sophomore, obviously got a ton of time last year just building her for this. And I challenge Ari a lot every day to continue to get better, to continue to lead, to continue to do the right thing when nobody's watching, and to keep grinding out at bats. And it's exciting. And I'm so pumped for her that she's seen some of the results on the other side from what she's doing, and she will continue to keep doing, which is the exciting part.
And then you talked about being on the biggest stage with some of the biggest athletes with the biggest programs. Have there been any kind of deer in the headlights moments you felt like with your team, or have they handled that pretty well?
No, I don't think there's deer in the headlights moments. I think there's moments when we haven't performed to the best of our ability. I don't know that it's from a lack of, or, like a being a timid or by any means. I just think that sometimes it doesn't go your way. And it's about, again, about how you respond to that. And it's not about that we weren't prepared or we weren't in the right positions. At some point you have to perform. And I think the more that they get to do this, the more they're on this stage, the better they're going to become at that. And like I said, preparing us for conference, there's not going to be anything they haven't seen. So man, there is just no fear. Go out and attack, go out and play hard. And that's, again, an adjustment that maybe you didn't see from Friday to Saturday, but I know it shifted just in our culture itself of like, we're going to play hard, we're going to get after it. It does not matter what the score says, like we're fighting back. And that's the perseverance that's going to take you to the end.
Thank you. You mentioned your players come from top programs, finding that success. How important is it that you play teams like Tech, UT, that you're going to be playing OU, where they're not going to necessarily, they're going to struggle and they're going to fail. And that's just kind of how your sport in baseball goes. Is failure is a normal thing. How important is it that you get them kind of acclimated of struggling a little bit, especially before conference, where if they struggle in conference, they don't get afraid of it. They know how to handle it.
100%. You said it right there. I mean, the more you face it, the more you know how to respond to it. It's just like reps in anything. The more you practice it, the better you're going to be prepared in the long run. And so that's what we're doing. And, the tide, one of my mentors said this the other day, the tide goes in and the tide goes out. Like, it's the same. So we're going to keep getting better. And you don't get to choose how long you sit in adversity, right? You just get to choose how you respond to it. And so we still got a lot of season left. And